Let me paint you a picture real quick, and I promise I won't take as long as the runtime of the season finale everybody just watched. I'm minding my business, getting through the second to last season of House of Cards before I inevitably quit watching the show because my mother accidentally spoiled the last season for me. Over the course of me watching HOC, my cousin's been telling me I gotta hurry up and finish that so I can watch this new show called Severance. I'm hesitant to try it only because I know once I like a show, I become consumed by it and it controls my life until I've finished. I watched the title sequence of the first season with my cousin and was very intrigued by it. I decided to give it a go. 3 days later, I'd completed all 9 episodes of the first season. I frantically called my cousin to talk about it, but got off the phone quick just so I could begin watching season 2. Although I enjoyed the first season, I didn't necessarily love it. And the reasons I was partially enjoying the show were the prototypical reasons I would enjoy any piece of media. I didn't just want to know what was going to happen next. I wanted to fully comprehend every detail peppered within the episodes of the show, also I could make a prediction on what was going to happen in the next episode. That level of analysis and study is something I've only ever had to do when dissecting songs and lyrics by Kendrick Lamar, whose music I take very seriously. Meticulously listening to every song on a new album over and over until I feel like I've understood every concept in detail the way Mr. Lamar himself would have wanted me to. But for a TV show, I've never done that in my entire life. But this show had me doing it for every single episode. I was so engaged, I'd probably say I enjoy watching analytical recaps of each episode more than I enjoy watching the episodes themselves. That's gotta be the most backwards way of consuming and enjoying television. By the end of season 1, I was hooked, and I needed to know what was going to happen next because the story unraveled itself in such a suspenseful way. It's no secret that the secret to quote-unquote good television during the streaming era is to give people a good and complete episode and leave the audience with a burning, unanswered question or introduce some exciting twist that basically begs the viewer to watch the next episode immediately and not turn the TV off to go to sleep, like they should. These clever tricks seem to mess with the psychology of the human brain in the same way that social media apps are designed and the same way that casinos in Vegas operate. Most seasons of TV now feel like a 10-hour-long movie cut off at the most exciting times so that the final detail that they show can be the first thing that you see in the next episode. It's just like what cable networks do, placing commercials at the most cinematic moments of a movie to prevent you from changing a channel. When a TV show does this, it infuriates me, but I can't help but keep watching. As Severance does this to the viewer with each and every episode, drip feeding you with bits of information, you feel like you're solving a puzzle piece by piece. And you of course think you'll have the entirety of it figured out and completed by the end of the season, just to find out that you've only completed half the puzzle. I'd argue that this doesn't make for good TV, just manipulative storytelling that is vague enough to only be interesting to the degree that will get you to keep watching it. As much as this kind of storytelling bothers me from time to time, I can make exceptions for something when it ultimately becomes a great story that is being told in the end. But I feel like the main draw of Severance is the mystery surrounding the creepy history of Lumen and how they operate as a company. At the end of episode 1, we learn Mrs. Coble is Mark's neighbor. At the end of episode 7, we learn that Mark's dead wife Gemma isn't so dead and is the alive and well Miss Casey. Anyone who could turn off the TV after these episodes played without watching the next one has a lot more willpower than I do. The events that lead up to these moments are entertaining enough, but the main purpose they seem to serve is unraveling the plot of the story slowly enough to get to a climactic high point near the end of the episode, just to entice you to watch the next one. It's the same process that happens in our brains when people endlessly scroll on social media. You haven't found that one tweet, photo, or clip that'll keep you engaged, but when you do, that dopamine release hits. It feels great. But as soon as the moment is over, you want another, and another. So you go back to the endless search for the next high that you just felt only a moment ago. That's what these episodes feel like. To give the show some credit, I will say that the performances are phenomenal on all fronts. Adam Scott does a great job playing a conflicted man who is grieving and at some times reserved. Britt Lauer is phenomenal as Helly as the most boisterous of the microdata refinement team. Zach Cherry is a great comic relief as Dylan with at least one hilarious standout moment per episode, and John Turturro as Irv, my favorite character, plays the lovable disciplinarian who reminds us of the kid we all knew in class who would follow every single rule, loving every minute of their lack of rebellion. The list goes on. I could talk about the cold, sarcastic delivery that Tramell Tillman puts into every one of his lines as Mr. Milchick, and probably the most interesting character that I've mentioned already, Miss Coble. The cast works together wonderfully and they all play such distinct characters that remind me of common personalities you would find in an office environment, which I know all too well currently in my life. Needless to say, I just wish the characters had more to say to each other. It feels like half of the runtime of every episode are the characters staring into each other's eyes with an expression on their face, as they wait for the other person to begin speaking. The spacing between dialogue reminds me of the clips of sitcoms with the laugh track removed. It makes everything sound eerie and unrealistic. I know TV isn't supposed to be a one-to-one representation of the way that people communicate in real life, but people do not at all talk like this. I'm not at all saying that Severance is a bad show. The performances are great, the setting and world building is highly detailed and intricate. The lore that surrounds Lumen as a company and the Egan family as a whole seems so in-depth that I would believe it if someone told me that Severance was based on an 800-page novel. The story is fine, I just wish it wasn't paced in a way that looks like it's designed to continuously pull me towards the edge of my seat during the course of a 45-minute runtime. At some point, I run out of seat and end up on the floor. Every tiny piece of information that this show is generous enough to tell you is only satisfying for a few seconds before the inevitable barrage of follow-up questions begin to fill your brain. If I know that the answer to a question is going to further confuse me and make me want to ask 1,000 more questions, I'd just rather not know. If you like this video and want to see more, hit the subscribe and the like button. I'll be uploading more videos like this in the next few weeks. This channel is going to be a place where I talk about different kinds of media that I'm into. Movies, music, television shows, video games, etc. Leave some constructive criticism on what you think I did or didn't do well in this video. I'm just getting started, so hopefully I get better as time goes on. Leave a comment, as they say, in the description down below.